Good evening, everybody. See, last session, what we discussed was on, what did we discuss on the last session? We discussed on, uh, I literally forgot. What was the last session? Exactly. It was on exception handling, right? Last session, we discussed on exception handling, wherein I just gave you a quick intro about what is an exception and what is the difference between error and an exception, and what are the types of errors we have, and how to start by writing a simple sample program on exception with try, throw, and then catch. And our next assignment was, demo was on try with multiple catch, and also we went on with the custom exception handling. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the So today's session we are going to discuss about templates, and we'll discuss keenly about what are the different types of templates are available in front of us, and we'll just have a small demo on both the type of templates, and finally we'll just have a hands-on dip on our friend function. Okay, so we'll just proceed accordingly. So first and the foremost thing, let me speak on with template. Okay, so when I'm speaking about template, see, templates are the feature. Templates are a powerful feature of C++, which allows you to write generic program. And as you can see over the screen, in simple terms, you can create a single function or a class to work with different data types using templates. Templates are often used in larger code base for the purpose of code reusability and flexibility of the programs. So the concept of template helps us to deal with a particular module of code, wherein you can write this particular module and you can just implement it in n number of times with n number of different data types. That is not a problem. So that is what is a literal and a simplest way of explanation. So when you're trying to have a particular method or a particular class, this particular method and a class, when you're trying to create, you do not want to create along with the data type. So generally, when you're trying to have a particular function, so what you'll do, you will just have the function, and inside this particular function, whatever the variables you have, you will be declaring the data type of those variables, right? But in template, what happens is you will be declaring a particular function, you'll be declaring and defining a particular function, but neither in the declaration nor in the definition you will be using any of the data type. Instead, what you will use is you will use the letter T, as you can see in this particular image, wherein you have a template followed by the within the angular brackets you have type name and T. So this particular T is a universal keyword for maintaining with templates. So whenever you are trying to work with your templates, you need to ensure that this particular T is being kept in front of us. So this you will get an idea about it, and how are we going to work on with this with the sample demo. But before that, let us try to have a clear cut understanding on them. So when I'm speaking about templates, see, as before that, let me clearly tell you there are two types of templates available. One is a function template, other one is a class template. So whenever I'm trying to work with a function template or the class template, we need to be very much concerned about the uh, specifier. Okay, see, the templated keyword, the type keyword, whatever is there, and the type name. See, template class T and template type name T. As you can see over the screen, okay, the second 2 points, we have a template within the angular brackets. I have a class and then T. And then I have my template type name and then the T. See, both the templates or both the pattern of template will behave exactly in the same way. Okay, so how this particular function template and class template, they different when they are different from each other, we'll just have a look onto it. So whenever I'm speaking about a function template works in a similar to a normal function with one key difference, and the key difference is nothing but we will be using this particular pattern, like the syntax what you see underneath. Okay, so a single function template can work with different data type at once, but a single function, a normal function, can only work with one set of data type. Normally, when you are if you are if you need to perform identical operations on two or more types of data, you use function overloading to create two functions with the required function declaration. However, a better approach would be to use function templates because you can perform the same task writing less and the maintainable code. Now, how to declare a function? See, declaring a function, this is a syntax which we can just go ahead with, wherein we have the keyword template, and within the angular brackets, we have the keyword class and then the letter T. And as you see, in the next line, we have capital letter T and the function name with the arguments. So what happens? T is a template argument that accepts different data types, something like int, float, char, double, string, and anything. And class is literally a keyword. So you can use keyword type name instead of class in this particular syntax. Okay, so when an argument of a data type is passed to some function, the compiler generates a new version of the same function for the given data type. So before we move on, we'll just do one thing. We'll try to have our hands dipped on with our demo. Okay, so first and the foremost thing, all I'm just trying to do is I'm just trying to write a particular demo code over here. So let me just open my code block. Just a minute. I hope guys you are able to follow me. Guys, is the screen visible to everyone? Yeah? Okay. Fine. So first what we will do is we'll just try to implement a function template. Okay. So how to implement a function template? So in order to have a function template, we have a default code. Okay, so with this particular default code, what I'm just trying to do is, okay, let us try to write a particular program to find the maximum of two numbers. For that, before the main function, let me try to have my template being declared. So in order to have my template being declared, all I need to do is I need to go ahead and have the template, the keyword, followed by, I can just go with type name. So as you see, whether type name is there, yes, type name, and then T. And on the next line, let me go with inline. So inline is again an keyword, and I'm just trying to use constant. Okay, and here let me use the keyword max in the function. So T space constant and then the variable. Again, T space constant ampersand and then the variable. So I have created a function. So inside this, what I'm going to do is let me return if A. I'm just using a ternary operator over here. B else A. So what does this particular function say? So this particular line number 5, it lets us know that we are trying to use the concept of template. Okay, and wherein I'm not having any data type being specified. The only thing I need to obtain the type T as template, and then I'm trying to have my constant. Okay, so no void and no int or something is just a constant. Okay, so during the time of declaration, so what this will do, this will consider whichever the line, see line number 6, in line T const and the ampersand will consider the data type during the execution. Okay, so I have created a particular function and it's going to return. So this ternary operator will help me to identify which particular number is greater accordingly. So in the main function, what I'm just trying to do is I'm just trying to have my template initiated over here. So template with integer data type. So that's a comment I'm just trying to give. So I'm just trying to have int x equal to 20 and then int y equal to 3. Okay, now what I'm just trying to do is cout. Okay, so cout, inside this particular cout, let me give max of two numbers is the traditional way, like how we used to write. Okay, and now here I need to call my function name. So what is the function name over here? We have this max. Okay, so max is the function name which I have. So I'm just calling this particular max. And what are the two variables? X comma y. And then I'm just trying to ndl. Fine. So let me just try to run my code. I'm just trying to build and run my code. So as you see, maximum of two number is 20. Okay, it's getting time to decipher. So as you see in this particular output, the maximum of two number is 20. Okay, now what I can just do once again is, let me just go and let me just declare, float a equal to 20.6 and float b equal to 39.8 and cout max between a and b. So I'm just calling the function, and inside this particular function I need to pass the argument. So a and b is what I'm just passing as argument over here. I'm just closing my end L. Okay, so now if I just go back and run my code, so if you see, I'm just trying to run my code. Okay, in both the cases, what happened? It is trying to give me the maximum of two numbers. But what did we write in a particular program? We wrote a particular function. Okay, so this is our function. Once we have written this particular function, and we're just trying to call with n number of times with n number of data types. Guys, till here it is clear. Now one last time, let me also show you. I'm just trying to have my string u equal to hello. So this is also possible with my string data type also. V equal to world. Okay, so cout max of two strings. Max of two strings. What I can just do is I'm just going with the max function with u comma v and l. That's it. Now already my terminal is running, so let me just close and let me run once again. So as you can see now, okay, so it's taking some time to decipher. Yes. So as you can see now, I have maximum of two numbers is 20, which is for integer, and max between a and b is 39.8, which is for float, and maximum of two string is world. Yes. So this is the literal advantage of having a function. It is a function template. Are you getting a point, guys? Till here it is clear to everybody? Shall you move on to the next? Guys, please respond over the chat. Shall you move on to the next? Okay, so our next implementation is with our class template. Okay, so when I'm speaking about a class template, it is pretty simple. Okay, class template is also the same as our function templates only. So like function templates, you can also create class template for generic class operations. Okay, so sometimes you need a class implementation that is same for all the classes, only the data types used are different. Normally you need to, okay, Revati says like you do not understand the comparison of strings. Okay, just look into it, Revati. Okay, just a minute. The screen, is the screen visible? Am I displaying the code? Since I am at a client location, so I'm using my mobile network to Theta. Okay, so Revati, you just look into this. So as you see, this particular function, see, class compare string comparison is again the same. If you understand, integer and float comparison, then string comparison is again the same pattern. What you are going to do is you are just going to compare two different, words. Okay, so whenever we are trying to compare two different words, the compiler will take the in charge of it. We will not be having the control. Rather, the compiler will take the in charge, because what it will do is it will just go ahead and convert all the characters into the ASCII values, and then have the performance of it, or whatever it is. So the comparison takes care of it, literally. So we do not have anything to worry about it. But this is an instance wherein this is how we can just perform the template. So template comparison is even template implementation is even possible with different data types, and this is what you have it right in front of you. Is it clear to everyone? Okay. So let me move on to the next. So next what I'm speaking is next is about the class template. So as I said already, our class template is literally equivalent to our function templates. Okay. So normally you do not want to create different classes for each data type, or create different member variables and functions within a single class. So this will unnecessarily blot your code base and will be hard to maintain. And as a change is one class or function should be performed on a classes or functions. Okay. So as you can just see here over the screen, okay, a template class takes the form. Okay, so template class, and then the class name is given, and my template class, and the class template specialization takes the form, like what you see right in front. Maybe that could be clear if I just go with an a syntax. So as you see in this particular syntax, we have the same pattern. The first line is the same, template class and the T. Instead of having the function declaration, we are straight away going with the class declaration. So wherever you have int or char or float to be displayed, you will be like using the letter T. As you see in public, T var. Okay, T and then the variable name. Yes, T and then some sort of a function operation, which is nothing a void or int or char or float. So void display off. int display of. Instead of that, T display of, and inside the argument, instead of having the variable name and then the argument, we just go with T and then the argument. So how it is possible? See, and moreover, creating a class template, we need to create a class template object. So you need to define the data type inside the angular brackets during the creation. Okay, so when you're trying to work with the main function, inside the main function you'll have the class name followed by that the data type and then the object name. So this particular data type and the object name will define which particular type of return type should be implemented. Clear? So if I just go ahead with an example, okay, so we'll just do one thing. Let me free this particular code. I'm just trying to free this particular code. Even this particular template also I'm just trying to remove. So saving it. Okay, it's taking its time to decipher. Guys, but whatever is discussed till now, hope you are able to keep a track of it. Are you able to understand? Okay, now what I'm just trying to do is I'm just trying to make sure to declare a template now. So I'm just trying to declare a template, and within the Angular brackets, I use the class and the letter T. And very next moment, I'm just trying to use the class name. So class space class name. So let us have a calculator example implemented over here. So I'm just giving the calculator LCU. Okay, the calculator is the class name. Fine. And inside this particular calculator class, what I'm just trying to do is I'm just trying to declare two variables, number one and number two, as private. So private, and here, see, instead of int, so this is how I'll be typing int num1, that is number one. Okay, and int num2. Instead of typing like int num1 and int num2, I'm just using t num1 and t num2. So what will happen is, while I'm just trying to run my code, this particular variable will accept the data type whatever is provided in the place of this particular t. How it is going to be possible, we'll just look into it. So private two variables I have declared, and then I'm just trying to have two different methods. So one is I'm just trying to declare as public. Okay, so public, I'm just trying to have the constructor first. So calculator, the constructor I'm just trying to have, because the constructor should get two different variables over here, tn1 and tn2 space n2. Okay, so this particular constructor, what I'm just trying to do now is, this is very simple to the assignment. So I'm just trying to assign num1, which is equal to n1, and num2, which is equivalent to n2. Okay, so I have implemented I have created a constructor, and then what I'm just trying to do is I'm trying to have a particular method, okay, which can display my output. So this particular method, I'm just trying to take it as such, because this method I'm giving void because it is just going to throw my output. Okay, so there is no logical operations being performed over here. So inside this, I'm just giving C out, and what I can just give addition, and now I'm just going to have a method created int L. Okay, now that you see I have a particular function named add being created over here. So I need to create a function called add. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is let me create. So T is the return type and add. It's done. And then it's open and close braces. So inside this, I can just have a return. So what is going to return? Return num1 plus num2. That's it. So let us save this and let me just go to my main function. Or the main function, the first and the foremost concern is I need to create the instance of the class. Yes, so I'm just trying to create objects. So in order to create an object, I need to use the class name and then the object name, right? So calculator is the class name, okay? And what is that I'm trying to give? I'm trying to create a particular object. So whatever the operation this particular object is going to perform, all the variables will be of the type integer. Okay, for that I'm just going to create a function called int calc, that is an object called int calc, and within this I'm just giving two values. And very next line what I'm just going to do is with the help of an object name. So this is the object name, right? With the help of this particular object name, all I can just do is I can just call this particular method. For that, all I do is I just go to my main. So int calc dot result. It's done. Now let us see. We'll just try to run this code. Okay, there was an error. Num was declared in the scope. Okay, there was a typo error. Sorry. Now, as you see over here, like we have our function being, that is a class template being executed. Okay, and we have addition 532 as the output. Now, with this particular scenario, we cannot conclude, okay, fine, this is what is our class template. What I can just do now is let me just go and let me create another instance of the class calculator. So calculator, and now I'm just trying to assign float, and float calc is my float calc is nothing but, now this is going to be my object name for the class calculator, and this particular calculator float calc which is going to be having all the variables being declared as float. So 1239.89 comma 897.65. Okay, now very next moment, with the help of my object name, I'm just going to call the function. Okay, now already my instance of my output is running. So I've just closed it. I'm just trying to run my code. Great. So can you see this now? I have performed addition with both integer as well as with my floating point. Guys, the difference between class template and the function template, is it clear to you? How to implement a class template and how to implement a function template? See, for a class template, all you'll be doing is this particular line. Guys, this particular line is very well mandatory. Template, class, and then the letter T is literally mandatory. Post to which, whatever you are trying to have, that is up to your logic, whether you are using a function or whether you are using a class, whatever it is. If you are using a function, then you can just straight away implement it as such. But when you're using a class, then this particular line, which is nothing but creating and creating an object of that particular constructor, is mandatory. So while you're trying to create an object, what we will do is we will be like giving the data type while the creation of object itself. Okay, I hope you guys are clear with the class template and function template right now. So we'll just do one thing. We will try to add another function in this. Okay, so t subtract. So what is going to return? Return num1 minus num2. Okay, and then t multiplication. I'm just going to have return num1 cross num2. Okay, and now in my result, I'm just going to call my cout, that is function. So subtraction, and then sub int l cout multiplication mult, and the function call I just given int l. Okay, now what else is needed? So when I just call this particular result, okay, these two values, that is 211 and 321 and 239.8 and 879, will be printed accordingly. So we'll just try to have a difference over here. Cout output of float, and then cout output of int, end line, and here also I'm just giving end line. Now already my terminal is running, so we'll just close this terminal. And I have just run my code. See, output of integer. This is our output of integer literally. And this is our output of float. So writing a simple code is not a big challenge. Okay, template comes into the literal picture wherein in real time, whenever you're trying to use larger type of applications, at that point of time, templates will come really into the picture. Whenever you're trying to work for some circuit designs, see, this calculator is literally an example. When you're trying to work with some a scientific calculator, when you're trying to design a template, when you design a code, at that point of a time, these templates will come into the picture, come into the real help. Okay guys, so I hope you guys are like clear with the templates now. With at least you got an idea about what is uh, function template and then a class template. Okay, now we'll just move on primarily with our friend function. Shall we move on, guys? So here will not take too much of time. Friend function is a small instance only. We'll just try to complete it in another 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Okay, Any which way, we have 20 more minutes. I know everybody is like tightly packed up with their schedules, and hostel people, they need to go and have food, and I'm not sure Anita and Revati, they have had food or not. Okay, so we'll just proceed discussions apart. So friend function. See guys, one of the most important concept of object oriented programming is data binding, or data hiding I should say. That is, a non-member function cannot access an object's private or protected data. But sometimes these restrictions may force programmer to write long and complex codes. So there is a mechanism built in C++ programming to access private or protected data from non-member function. So this is done using a friend function or a friend class. So we'll not discuss about friend class today. We'll discuss about friend function today. Okay. So friend function is pretty simple. See, if a function is defined as a friend function, then the private and protected data of a class can be accessed using the function. Now the compiler knows a given function is a friend function by the use of the keyword friend by itself. For accessing the data, the declaration of a friend function should be made inside the body of a class, like how you see in this syntax. So I have a class name, and inside this I have a function which has been declared. Okay, and now this particular function, what I'm just trying to do, I'm just trying to use the keyword friend, the return type, then the function name along with the arguments. Okay, so this is how you can just go ahead with. First, you will be having your function declaration. See, now you can define a friend function as a normal function to access data of the class. No friend function is used in the definition. Only when you're trying to declare a function, you need to have the particular keyword friend. But once if you're trying to define a function, no need to have the return type, or I mean, no need to have the keyword friend being implemented over there. Okay. So let us go and try to have a simple implementation of the program, that is our friend function. So let me use the same code. Okay, so I'm just clearing my main, and then I'm just trying to clear my template as well. Okay, so I'm just done by clearing both the template as well as the main function. Now I'm just trying to have a class. So let me have a class called distance. So this particular class distance, okay, just a minute. I can see that the video is still not refreshed. I'll just wait for 30 seconds. Okay, in the meanwhile, the video gets refreshed. Can you just guys quickly tell me whether you are able to follow? Yes, okay. Next time I'll just make sure like my internet is proper. Okay, so accordingly we'll just move on. Okay, now that I have class distance and int main. Okay, so I had created a class. Now here I'm just trying to declare a particular variable. So I'm just trying to use private. So this particular private is going to have int meter as a variable. Now let me have another type of declaration. So let me have public, because I'm going to create a constructor now. Okay, so the constructor for the class distance. Okay, so the constructor, I'm just trying to create it, and meter of 0. So I'm just assigning uh, the initial value to be 0. Okay, and now I'm just trying to declare a function as friend function declaration. So this particular friend function, what I'm going to do is, initially this is how we'll be declaring a function, right? Int add of, and then distance. So this is how we'll be declaring a function. But for the friend function, you need to use the keyword friend. So if you see, my friend function is declared. Once my friend function is declared, now I need to define this particular function. Okay, so definition of the function could be as simple. Okay, so I can just go and just try to have the function int add. Okay, and then distance is a data type for this particular an argument for this particular function. And now what is going to happen? D dot meter plus equal to 10. So plus equal to 10 is again nothing but meter equal to meter plus 10. So what is initially now? So meter equal to meter plus 10. So which is again equivalent to um, meter equal to 0 plus 10. Right. So this is what we are just trying to write here now. And I'm just trying to return d dot meter. Okay, so I'm just return the meter. So I had defined my function. So my function declaration is done and my function definition is also done. So function definition I had just done for the declared function, which is nothing but friend function. And now in my main, what I'm just trying to do is I'm just trying to create the instance of class distance d, class name and then the object name. Okay, now let me try to print cout. Okay, distance, and now let me call the function, and whatever the term I'm just trying to have. Okay, d. So return is already there. Okay, so when I just try to run this code, now I'll just attempt to run this code. Before attempting to run this code, let me explain. So I have created a particular class called distance. Okay, this particular class, distance class, is having a variable declared as meter, then its access specifier is private. And I'm just trying to create a constructor and I'm just trying to have meter as its variable assigned. And then I'm just trying to declare a particular function. And in order to make this particular function as friend, I am just trying to use the keyword friend over here. That's it. And now later on what I do, I'm just going on with the function definition. Okay, over the function definition I have int add, and I'm just trying to perform, which is nothing but I'm just trying to add number 10 to it. I'm just trying to return. Well, this is just a simple implementation, like this is literally a simple implementation. Okay, so here the friend function add is declared inside the distance class, so the private data member or private data meter can be accessed from this function. Though this particular example gives you an idea about the concept of a friend function, it does not show any meaningful use because it's just a simple use of it. Okay, so a more meaningful use would be like when you need to operate on objects of two different classes. That's when a friend function can be very useful. So you can definitely operate on two objects of different classes without using the friend function, but the program will be long, complex and hard to understand. Okay, so let me just explain you that also. I'll just try to have two different classes and try to implement the same function. So before that, let us try to run this particular code. Yes, if you see distance 10, we have obtained. So what we did, we were trying to access the private data. Generally, you cannot access a private data from one class into another class. But with the help of a friend function, you can just very well do that. And how this is the case. Till here it is clear? Okay, now one last example, because we have traveled all these way dealing with our friend function. Okay, but this is something primarily needed for us. So what I'm just trying to do now, I'm just trying to clear the entire code. Okay, let me clear the entire code, because as I said, this is a simple implementation, so you'll not find a huge impact of friend function. But this is where you will get a friend function when you're trying to access a particular function with two different classes. So how? Let us show you. So let me have a class B, okay, and let me have a class A. So first let me declare the class A. So inside the class A, I'm just trying to declare a private variable. Okay, so this particular private variable is holding int num1. Okay, and then I'm just trying to have the public, which is with the public only I'll be able to create the instance of the, that is the constructor for the class. So public. So here A of, and here num1. Okay, so num1, what I'm just trying to assign, I'm just trying to assign 87, and then open and close braces. Now I'm just trying to declare a friend function. So what I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to add two numbers. Okay, so int add of a comma b. So as you see, a and b, which what I'm trying to give, I'm just trying to give the class names as such. Okay, so this is not a friend function right now. This is literally a function. In order to make it friend, what I'm just trying to do is I'm just trying to use the keyword friend. Now my class A is done. And now let me move on to class B. So class B, I'm just trying to use. Okay. So here what I'm just trying to do, I'm just trying to create a private data. See guys, the usage of friend comes into the picture, and it will be helpful only when we are working or when you're trying to access the private data. Okay. So num2 is the other case. And let me try to declare the constructors of class B and num2, and what is the value? 23. Open and close. So I'm just trying to declare friend function. So friend int, so again I'm just using the same function, add of a comma b. See, both the classes, okay, class A also I'm just trying to have a function, and class B also I'm trying to have the same function. Class A is using its private member, and class B is using its own private member. But literally, if you see, class B is using class A's private member, and class A is using class B's private member. So how this particular interchange is going to be possible? For this, all I need to do now is I need to write this particular, declare, define this particular function add. Okay, so, oops, I made a small mistake. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to call my function, okay, add. So this particular, where am I going? So this particular function add will have two different arguments. One a dot object a comma b object b. Fine. And now this particular function is going to return, what it is going to return? Return object a dot num1 plus object, oh sorry, let me use a quick fix, object b dot num2. So obviously now class A is having a function add and class B is also having the same function add, but only difference is class A's function add is using the private data of class B and class B's function is using a private data of class A. Okay, now in my main function, what I'm just trying to do is I'm just trying to create an object A, and B, object B. Now see out sum of two numbers here, add of, yes, oh sorry, add of, I can just call object A, okay, comma, object B. It's done. Are you getting the difference, guys? Now the values we have already mentioned, right? We have already passed the values. See, the value of num1 is 87 and num2 is 23, and we have just already, given. Fine. Now what I'm just trying to do now, okay, there is a small deciphering issue. There's a small async issue over there, so we'll just wait until it gets synchronized. Yes, now if you see, let me explain you the code. Okay, now let me explain you the code. So I have two different classes, class B and class A. See, generally what we did in this particular program, class A and class B have declared a function, a friend function as add. Okay, and thus this particular function can access private data of both the classes. So here add function, just focus here. So add function, adds the private data number 1 and number 2 of two objects, object A and object B. So this is what I'm just trying to address, object A and object B. To make this program work properly, a forward declaration of a class B is done. See, here I have just declared a forward declaration of class B. Okay, and this should be made, this is mandatory because class A is using class B's private data, right? So henceforth the forward declaration is supposed to be done, which is I said like class B is referenced within class A using the friend function over there. Okay, now let us see whether our code is up and running or not. So let me just try to run my code. Okay, as you see, sum of two number is 110. There's a small async issue because of my network problem over here. Okay, can you just see this point, guys? Number of, sum of two numbers is 110. So this is what is literally a friend function, what it tries to do. Okay, so we have seen accessing a friend function and as well as a friend class. So let me clearly tell you, when, okay, let me just show you the code. See guys, when a class is made a friend class, all the member function of the class becomes friend functions. Okay, so in our example, what we did, all the member function of class B will be friend function of class A. Thus, any member function of class B can access the private and protected data of class A, but member function of class A cannot access the data of class B. Okay, so let me clearly tell you, a friend relation in C++ is not only granted, I mean, it's just only granted, but it's not been taken away. Okay. So that's all about today's session, wherein we discussed on. So in today's session, we literally discussed on our friend function. Okay, but apart from discussing on the friend function, we primarily discussed on what is a template and what are the types of templates and why we use templates. And the two types of templates we discussed. One is like working with a function templates, and the other one is the class template. And at the last, we discussed with friend function, so we just got a keen idea about what is a friend function and how to implement a friend function just by a simple example. And later on, we just moved on by implementing the real example of friend, which is nothing but the real usage of a friend function and the friend class. So both the friend function and friend class we have discussed today. Fine. So as discussed with you guys,